Would you trade your entire past for 10 minutes of looking rich on a blockchain explorer? In 1925, Jay Gatsby lit up Long Island with champagne fountains, jazz trumpets, and whispering rumors. A century later, nouveau cryptocrats light up Instagram with yacht week NFTs and screenshots of their wallets. Different stage, same glitter, just in higher resolution. So slip on a linen suit, silence the price alert pings, and let's crash the greatest party in American fiction. The Great Gatsby appeared in April 1925 to lukewarm reviews, moving fewer than 24,000 copies its first year. Today, a pristine first edition can command over $400,000 at auction, and TikTok teens quote lines they've never actually read. The novel's journey from overlooked publication to cultural cornerstone is itself a Gatsby-like transformation. F. Scott Fitzgerald, barely 28, was already haunted by the fear that his best work was behind him. "Show me a hero," he famously wrote, "and I'll write you a tragedy." Fitzgerald wrote the book in bursts, split between the Riviera, Rome, and his hometown of St. Paul. His life was a mixture of brilliance and chaos, plagued by heavy drinking, overshadowed by Hemingway's success, and complicated by Zelda's psychiatric episodes. He completed the manuscript on sheets of yellow paper, writing at odd hours, sometimes late into the night. The world he depicted, jazz clubs, new money, endless parties, was partly drawn from his own experience of New York during the roaring '20s. The world was drunk on speculation, the stock market rising like a helium balloon. It wasn't far from the feverish crypto bull markets of the past decade. The central question the novel poses, can you recapture a lost dream, feels eerily relevant, whether you're a trader staring at a volatile chart or someone scrolling through curated luxury on social media. The promise of the green light is always there. Just one more trade, one more investment, one more leap toward the dream. Nick Carraway, a reserved Midwestern bond salesman, arrives in New York at the height of the 1922 stock boom. He rents a humble cottage beside Gatsby's colossal Gothic mansion. From his porch, Nick watches as men and girls came and went like moths among the whisperings and the champagne and the stars. Gatsby, whose real name is James Gatz, is a mystery to all. War hero, Oxford man, possibly a bootlegger, possibly a German spy. His parties, with their endless music and flowing champagne, are an elaborate stage set, constructed for one audience, Daisy Buchanan. Daisy, Nick's cousin, lives across the bay with her domineering husband Tom, part of old money's elite. Every night Gatsby stares at a single green light at the end of Daisy's dock, as if he could bridge the past by sheer will. Nick, both participant and observer, arranges a reunion between Gatsby and Daisy. The moment is electric. Gatsby trembles, Daisy cries, and the illusion of time collapsing feels almost real. But the dream unravels. In the oppressive heat of a Plaza Hotel suite, Tom exposes Gatsby's past, his shady connections, his bootlegging, his humble origins. Daisy, overwhelmed, retreats into the safety of wealth and privilege. Later, a speeding car kills Tom's mistress Myrtle, and the fallout leads George Wilson, her grief-stricken husband, to shoot Gatsby in his pool. Only Nick and Gatsby's father attend the funeral. Nick's closing reflection still stings. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Jay Gatsby, the man who built himself from nothing, is the archetypal self-inventor. He believes in the power of reinvention so fiercely that reality bends around his dream. His mantra, "Can't repeat the past. Why, of course you can," sounds like the voice of every crypto enthusiast convinced that yesterday's bubble will inflate again if we just hodl long enough. Daisy Buchanan is as alluring as she is hollow. Her voice, Fitzgerald writes, is full of money. In today's world, Daisy might be a luxury influencer, whose charm is partly the result of being untouchable. Gatsby doesn't love Daisy as she is. He loves the idea of her, the perfect, polished symbol of success. Tom Buchanan is old money personified, entitled, arrogant, and protective of the status quo. He doesn't just fight Gatsby. He fights the very notion that someone outside his circle could earn their way in. His disdain for Gatsby mirrors the sneers of traditional bankers toward crypto upstarts. Jordan Baker, the professional golfer, is described as incurably dishonest, yet she's irresistible. She is the carefully curated feed, always on display, always slightly deceptive, but compelling nonetheless. Nick Carraway, our narrator, floats between judgment and complicity. He's the one who sees through the glitter and emptiness, yet can't help being drawn in. He's like the silent viewer who scrolls through luxury content on Instagram, both admiring and resenting what they see. The green light at the end of Daisy's dock is one of literature's most enduring symbols. It represents hope, longing, and the relentless pursuit of a dream just out of reach. A century later, the green buy button on a trading app carries a similar energy, beckoning us to invest, to believe, to chase. Fitzgerald's themes of class, identity, and the hollowness of wealth are as relevant as ever. Consider the parallels. Fitzgerald, 1925, 2025. Parallel. Spectacle parties in West Egg, crypto conferences and NFT yacht weeks, bootlegging and stock tips, pump and dump discords, emerald docklight, neon buy button in trading apps, valley of ashes, server farm e-waste and crypto mining costs, old money versus new money, fiat elites versus blockchain barons. Luxury, then and now, is theatre. It's about the performance of success, the curated image, the carefully constructed facade. The people who attended Gatsby's parties rarely knew him. They were there for the vibe, the free drinks, the chance to say they were part of something glamorous. Sound familiar? The Valley of Ashes, a bleak industrial wasteland between West Egg and Manhattan, stands as a reminder that all this luxury comes at a cost. Today, we see similar reminders in the environmental toll of massive server farms, energy-hungry crypto mining rigs, and the e-waste of discarded tech. Someone always pays the price for the dream. Fitzgerald originally considered naming the book Trimalchio in West Egg, referencing a character in the Roman satire Satyricon, a gaudy party host obsessed with displaying wealth. Editors feared the title was too obscure. Eventually, The Great Gatsby stuck. The novel's iconic cover, those haunting eyes and crimson lips floating above a glowing city skyline, was painted by Francis Cougat before Fitzgerald finished writing. Fitzgerald loved it so much, he incorporated its imagery into the book itself. When the book launched, sales were modest and reviews mixed. Fitzgerald died in 1940 thinking of himself as a failure. But during World War II, the Armed Services Edition distributed 155,000 pocket-sized copies to American soldiers, reviving interest in the novel. By the 1950s, The Great Gatsby was canonized as a defining American classic. Today, the novel's influence spans every medium: films, stage productions, even TikTok aesthetics. Yet the story's power comes from its core truth. Wealth can buy attention, but it can't buy meaning. What makes Gatsby's story so enduring is that it is both personal and universal. Gatsby's downfall is not just the result of external forces, Tom's cruelty, Daisy's indecision, but of his own unwavering illusion. He's unable to see Daisy as a flawed human being because he needs her to remain the perfect emblem of success. This mirrors our own obsessions. Whether it's the perfect social media profile, the perfect portfolio, or the next big moonshot, we too are chasing green lights. Sometimes, as Fitzgerald suggests, the act of chasing is all we have. Nietzsche wrote, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." Gatsby soared high, but in the eyes of old money, he was always a pretender. His tragedy lies in the collision between aspiration and reality, between self-creation and the brick wall of class prejudice. Fitzgerald's prose is like a string of pearls, polished, luminous, and sharp. Consider, there are only the pursued, the pursuing, the busy, and the tired. Let us learn to show our friendship for a man when he is alive and not after he is dead. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. These lines transcend the jazz age. They feel just as relevant when applied to modern hustle culture and our obsession with making it. The Great Gatsby endures because it feels like a champagne flute, elegant, fragile, and empty the moment you set it down. Gatsby is not a hero or villain. He is a mirror of our own longing. Daisy is not cruel. She is simply gravity, pulling dreamers back to earth. And Nick is the quiet voice that asks whether the pursuit was worth the cost. Gatsby's dream crumbles because it was built on illusions. But Fitzgerald doesn't mock him for it. In fact, Gatsby's relentless hope, his refusal to accept the world's limitations, is what makes him great. As readers, we are invited to ask, what is our green light? What dream drives us forward, even when logic tells us to stop? If you have ever refreshed a price chart at 3 a.m., hoping for a miracle, congratulations, you already understand Gatsby. His longing, his restlessness, his desperate attempt to turn back time are all too human. Subscribe for more classic stories decoded for the 21st century and tell me in the comments, what colour would your personal green light be?